My name is Jess Cervellon, and I'm super excited to bring you my new podcast, The Juice with Jess. This podcast is going to be about everything in your customer's journey. We're talking acquisition, awareness, making that purchase, retaining that customer, bringing them back around, and everything in between. This is going to be all about delivering dope brand experiences and talking to some really amazing people who are in the customer experience space, the marketing space, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of The Juice with me, Jess. I'm still in Vegas, y'all. I've gotten an IV, I'm feeling alive, and I am at Shop Talk this week. I am super excited because I have my friend Jade Cameron from Australia. She is head of community experience at LSKD, which is a high-quality functional sportswear company with a street aesthetic. She will say that a lot better than I will. Jade, why don't you tell the audience who you be?
Hi. LSKD. So functional sportswear with a street aesthetic. We're all about creating amazing quality gear that you can wear in the gym, go for a run, but also feel comfortable enough to like wear it to, brunch or a cafe or just on your hot girl walk, if you will. I started with the brand about 3 years ago. My background is all community experience / customer service, but I spent 10 years in the travel industry before coming to LSKD, to the e-commerce world, and I've never looked back.
I'm super excited to have you on because, a fun fact, I also come from the travel industry prior to any of my B2B experience or my e-com experience. And as we were doing some research about Jade, we figured out that we worked at the same big corporate company, Flight Centre. For anybody who's listening out there, Flight Centre is a massive travel company in Australia, the UK, predominantly like everywhere else, but not the US.
Yeah.
I worked for corporate traveler division. Jade, you were head of CS at Top Deck.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And Top Deck is a
youth touring company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for 18 to 39-year-olds around the world.
Crazy. Just so crazy.
It is.
Because that culture at Flight Centre is set us both up for like community, CX, like all of this, you know?
100%.
You just deal with so many different types of people, you know?
Absolutely. I attribute a lot of my growth and success to Flight Centre and the opportunities that I was given there. Like not only the difficultness of dealing with travel, a non-tangible product to A, sell and B, troubleshoot when things go wrong, but Flight Centre in general, like really invest in their people. And I got given so many opportunities for like development and training courses in a really safe environment. They're all about like failing forward, learning from your mistakes, as long as you don't do it again. I attribute a lot of that to Flight Centre.
Did you ever go to Global?
I did.
How many Globals?
Only one.
Ooh, I went to 2, I think. So Global, for anybody listening out there or viewing in, Global is basically like the equivalent of President's Club. Right?
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
but
okay.
Sounds cool.
That's an American thing. Okay. A President's Club is like, if you're really good at sales, you get invited to go to the President's Club. It's kind of like silly and like very like President's Club,
very
right?
American.
Very American.
Yeah.
That's why we call it Global at Flight Centre, because it's more inclusive. Granted, you have to like earn your way into it.
Yes.
But, you earn your way into it by delivering a really dope customer experience, right? So depending on like what positions you're in, but also I'm not going to give away all the tactics here.
Spoiler.
But airlines will pay travel industries commission. So it's a bit of a sales job as well as like a service job. So anyway, but if you get to Global by being like the best of the best.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I went to Macau, Singapore.
Macau. Yeah, okay, yeah. I remember my first year starting at Flight Centre. Global was in Cancun. And I think like that just like had me like hooked on the Flight Centre dream. I did not make it to Cancun.
Yeah.
And then I moved so I was in store as a travel agent for 1 year, and then I moved to Top Deck Travel.
Got it.
Yeah. And funnily enough, like I moved to Top Deck before Flight Centre actually purchased them. So quick little history.
Yeah.
The founder of Flight Centre founded Top Deck first, and then Flight Centre, and then sold Top Deck, but then bought it back, I think, in 2014, 2015. And then we became part of the family again. But I was lucky enough to go to Berlin, I think, in 2018.
I went to Berlin. I was at Berlin.
In 2018?
Yeah, I also went to Berlin
too. We were both there together.
That's so weird.
So
and now we're
cool.
besties.
Yes. Yeah.
We just met in this moment.
Yeah, I love it. Yes.
Yeah, I was at Berlin too. That's so crazy. But so Global also used to always follow my birthday, so it would be like a birthday trip for the times that I would bake in, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Good birthday in middle of the year, July 14th. If for anybody listening out there, July 14th, subliminal messages.
Let me write that down.
Right? Anyway, okay. So I'd love to get into your story because I think your story is really amazing. This fact that like you worked in travel and then you ended up in e-commerce. Like, tell me about that switch.
My goodness. Okay. Yes, travel. Love. My heart will always be in travel. I don't know if I could ever go back because there was a little thing like called the pandemic. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. So after Top Deck, I moved to a online travel agency called Tour Radar, who specialized in group touring. And 6 months after I started there is when COVID hit. So for 12 months of my role there, we went from, being in the office to working remotely. Travel shut down overnight, which was crazy. So working through like tour operators not wanting to give refunds and us communicating that to our customer and then making sure my team were okay and taking pay cuts and convincing my team to take pay cuts. And it was a time, and it was probably one of the most stressful times of my life. But what I learned and how much I grew in that time around, even in my leadership, I think like I've always been an empathetic leader, but that had to be next level during that time to just be that support for my team. And I really changed my style through that time as well. Well, you had to, right? You like all of a sudden you can only communicate over a screen. And then, so fast forward to, I think it was around November, December 2020. And my boss now, the COO of LSKD, reached out to me on LinkedIn. And he was like, hey, we have this job that looks like something that you'd kind of like. Do you want to have a chat? And I was like, no, I have a job, was my initial reaction. And my best friend was like, no, call him, please. And I was like, okay. And then the more I spoke to Keith and then I met the CEO, founder Jason, and then our CFO, Matt, every conversation I had along that journey through the interviews, I was like, I have to work here. I have to work here. And the main thing that drew me in was like Jason's passion and the fact that I could just tell that they were on the edge of something amazing, because Jason had been on a journey. He had discovered his why. He was like reading books and like developing himself and just wanting to create something bigger than himself. Mm-hmm. And I was hooked.
Yeah, I fucking love that. I love that because like, and also why we're becoming besties in this moment, because we actually have a really similar background. Like, granted, like I left travel, or I left Flight Centre. I went to my first startup. It was a travel company. This pandemic happened, and then I tried to like float around to like cybersecurity, health tech, like all these places, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing in life, right? And randomly moved to Chicago, like on a whim, because I wasn't ready to go back to California. I'm not going to bore anybody with like all those details. And had I never moved to Chicago, I never would have gotten the job at Feastables as head of CX, right? And that was also my first time of working in e-commerce, right? But I joined the company because like our old CEO, COO, they were all come from like RX Bar, like founding employees of that, and their just mission and values were just like, damn, like I really want to be a part of this. I really want to be like in this, and it's so crazy. And I don't know if this is for like you as well, but like then coming into e-commerce, I've actually found like my kind of like way in a way. Like I've always cared about customer experience, and I've always cared about like the brand experience and like what we're delivering from a service perspective. But then moving into e-commerce, I've like really put into practice like the marketing pieces of it, the community building pieces of it. And it's like, it's just something I'm so obsessed with now.
Yeah.
You know, what about you?
Yeah. I'm like shaking my head so dramatically. Like, yes. Me too. It's so funny that you mentioned what drew you in about Feastables was like the mission and the values.
Yeah.
Because when I met Keith, Jace and Matt, we had the mission, which we have since changed. So back then it was inspiring our community to chase the vibe. And we've since updated it to inspiring you to be 1% better every day. But when I started, we didn't have company values, but they were on the journey in creating them. So I came in at this amazing time where I got to be a part of creating the values that we have today. And we are such a values-led company. And as like being passionate about CX, the second value is create a community.
Yeah.
And like that is what I am able to bring to life every day. So I was hired to basically build the CX team from the ground up.
Yes.
When I started, there was like 2 full-timers and 2 casuals. And I think we're a team of like around 20 now within that 3-year period. Nothing existed. I got handed this like red folder of like passwords. And that was the CX manuals. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like they were still answering phones like with desk phones. I was like, whoa, I'm so excited. But the coolest thing was like, even back then, like 3 years ago, they were hiring based on that connection and values alignment, right? So I was entrusted and empowered to just like go do, right? So I would have check-ins along the way. I'd be like, this is what we're doing. But it all came back to community and creating a community even from that first day that I stepped into the office.
Yeah.
So we really lean into that and we're all about that. You said art first science so many times in your intro when I listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
And like that is like, yeah, Jason, our CEO's voice ringing in my head. It's like that art versus science where it's like I'm the art.
Yeah.
I'm the wanderer, the creator. And then I've like built my team around me to like help bring that science to life as well.
The data pieces, the feedback loops, like all of that. I know. I think like just as creative people, right? Like it's like, and maybe this is why we ended up in the travel industry because we're just like floating through space. Like, I don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
But like, but being in CX and like building community and building from the ground up is just such a part of like that artist creation piece of it, you know? And then you got to put in the structure.
Yes.
Which is boring to some.
Look, yeah, there needs to be structure. But I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, like as I said, during COVID, I really changed my leadership style. I became a lot more relaxed as a leader and just had to put the trust into my team. And that just like changed how I did things for the better, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think the biggest mistake that a lot of CX leaders make is not empowering the frontline team.
Absolutely.
And not giving them the autonomy to actually bring to life the moments that they want to bring to life and how they want to bring them to life. Just like a quick pause on that, like part of our whole onboarding experience at LSKD is all around books. And one of the books that Jason read that he realized that he then didn't know anything about CX, and that's where I come in, but Delivering Happiness by the late Tony Hsieh, the ex-CEO of Zappos, and their model around like wowing the customer. And I basically built the LSKD philosophy around Tony Hsieh's concepts because customer community wow moments, like it's all about that genuine connection that you're building.
Yeah.
Like that's what people are hungry for. And that's actually how people buy now. They want to buy with brands that they connect to.
Yeah, absolutely. You buy because you have a dope brand experience. You buy because you're loyal to that brand, right?
Yeah.
And I don't care what brand it is. Like, I literally do not care if you're slinging chocolate bars or you're slinging a T-shirt, right? I am going to buy from that brand because of the experience that I'm having from that brand and the ability to deliver something really sick and dope and I want to keep coming back because of that.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
I think it's just like so crazy because it's like literally kindred CX spirits here.
I'm feeling that.
And the reason is because like I also built my CX team. I made the entire company, not the Zappos book, but I did a effortless experience.
Okay.
And I made the Feastables company read this book. Every single person, our old CEO was like, read this book. This is why we're building the most frictionless experience as possible so we can then deliver like a really dope community experience too.
I love that. I haven't read that. I have to write that down. You'll have to send that to me.
Oh, done.
Because I'm like books. Like I consume so many books. I love it.
Yeah. No, Effortless Experience is a really good book by Matt Dixon. Yeah, highly recommend. Man, we haven't even gotten into my questions.
Okay, right.
Literally. Whoops. But I'm really curious though, like, you know, one of the biggest questions that I want to ask you is that we talk about, you know, customer experience. Sometimes people call it customer service. Sometimes people this, that, and the other thing. I want to know specifically why you call it community experience.
A few reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So we at LSKD refer to our customer as our community.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a community, right? We're trying to build something bigger than us for people to be a part of.
Yeah.
So when I started, the team was actually customer support, which, you know, that's fine. And when I look at customer support or customer service, they're just fulfilling a function, right? Like that's just my mentality around those words. I read a book last year, which I'll go into a little bit more if we have time, but it's called Unreasonable Hospitality. I'm not going to say Will's last name because I'll butcher it every time, but he basically was the reason 11 Madison Park won best restaurant in the world. Mm-hmm. And he talks about customer service is black and white, but hospitality is color.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, I think for me, community experience is that color.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're trying to achieve at LSKD is at every touch point is like, how are we creating a community with this person? What are we doing? How are we creating a one-size-fits-one interaction with the tech that we have, with the personalities that we have, with the autonomy that the team has to create a fan, an advocate, like a returning customer, because that connection is just so much more important at the end of the day. And I think, you know, sales are important, obviously, but if you're building connection genuinely and creating those experiences, the sales are just a byproduct of everything that you're doing.
Absolutely agree with you. And I think that philosophy, I share that same philosophy with you because I don't think we should look at it so siloed. And I think a lot of times and a lot of like new brands that come out, a lot of, you know, people who are even revamping things to think about things from like a very like customer service point of view, right? Like, I'm servicing the customer.
Yes.
But like, honestly, if you answer questions before they become questions, like your service team wouldn't be inundated as much with like tickets, right?
100%.
So think about it in that philosophy too, is like, all right, you think about it like I'm answering questions before they become questions, but then even take it a step further, right? If you're thinking about it from the philosophy that you have, like my customer is my community, right?
Yeah.
I'm building loyalty from the get-go of it. I'm also building, I'm building advocates, right? But additionally though, like you're also treating those customers like there's like as much as they're loyal to you, you're loyal to them.
Yes, 100%.
And I think it does come from the hospitality perspective.
Yeah.
I really do. Like for like you and I at least, like why we view this point is because it's like we're not, I don't know, like in hospitality, like I go and like I checked into my hotel in Vegas, right? And I'm loyal to Marriott specifically because I know I'm going to get like the points and the upgrades, right? And I walk in and it's not about being like bougie, but like I walk in and I get upgraded and my room is overlooking the boulevard.
Yeah.
But it's an experience that I constantly get. Yes. And I'm a part of that community continuously.
Yeah. I love that example and just like leaning into hospitality, I think there's so much opportunity like in the traditional hospitality world of like restaurants, hotels. There is so much opportunity to be able to create one size fits one experiences. So like, you know, if you are a loyal customer, you might, you know, from time to time get like a bottle of champagne or your favorite flowers or your favorite chocolates or whatever that might look like. And I think that a lot of the times from an e-commerce perspective, some people think that they're pigeonholed, that they can't bring to life those experiences because you're having an online experience.
Your CX is great. That phrase is so last season. We want to hear your CX is incredible because at Customer, we believe in delivering incredible customer experiences. Introducing KIQ Agent Assist, the ultimate CX team AI sidekick built on our CRM to give agents superhero capabilities and efficiency. When building KIQ Agent Assist, we had goals in mind. 1, get rid of long customer wait times and increase the speed of customer resolution. 2, provide the CS team with real-time data for personalized prompts. 3, delegate those mundane tasks to AI. And 4, free up the agents to deliver a human experience. But listen, we didn't stop there. We wanted to deliver more. Check out KIQ Agent Assist's amazing features with suggested responses, automatic two-way translation in 53 languages, and conversation summary. Upgrade your customer experience with KIQ Agent Assist. Try it today and see the difference. Customer, delivering incredible CX every single time.
I actually just built an online training course for the whole business on becoming unreasonable based off this book. But can I share a story?
Yeah.
Cool.
Girl, all the time in the world, my friend.
So I just want to put that into context. So we had this really cool experience recently where 2 community members getting married, they sent us their wedding invitation and wrote a note on the back of it. And they were like, thank you guys so much for being a part of our get wedding ready journey. So obviously get wedding ready, they're leaning into fitness, got to look good for the big day. And they went out of their way to send us a note to say thank you, which is wild. And so what we did was we got 2 of our shirts, white shirts that had 1% better every day on them. So leaning into their personal story. And we actually took them to our local screen printer and got just married and the year screen printed on the back. And then we sent them this care package with something new, something blue, and, water bottles for the day and all that, and wrote this really cool note, took a team photo, sent it back to them. And they were absolutely shocked and just over the moon that we did anything really.
Yeah.
But it's just that's a little bit of an extravagant example, but we're just looking for those moments every single day where we can tailor an experience for our community and just give them something unforgettable.
Well, absolutely. And basically surprise and delight.
Yeah.
All of our customers want a surprise and delight, shout out to episode prior, but Roma from Dr. Squatch, she's CX manager, and what she talks a lot about Dr. Squatch, the soap brand, is that the personalization and building that brand voice and that brand community, right? But their customers are so loyal because in every interaction, they're having a surprise and delight moment, And it's and you and I might think about it like a PR package or this or that or a note, because I used to do those things of at festivals too, but it's going above and beyond for the people who are and you can't necessarily do it all the time, right? But you can you can personalize the experience
absolutely,
a lot, and then people make that viral.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently, so we have a theme every month, an internal theme that basically tells us what our marketing plan is going to be, linked back to product and back to our values. So for February, Valentine's Day, the theme was for the love of training.
Yeah.
So what we did was we went through, found our top 100 customers who had spent the most in the last 12 months. And my team actually went through each of their profiles and curated a gift for them based on their past purchases and wrote them a love note. We even got little Valentine's Day cards made up.
Yeah.
Wrote them a little love note just to say thank you so much for being such a big part of our brand. And the feedback that we got from those loyal customers, it could have been anyone, but I think just that something extra, we could have just gifted them all a new product or sent them all, flowers or our favorite tights that we like wearing, leggings, because I'm a US podcast. But, I think the thing is you really have to tailor those experience to each community member.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's to each community member, but if you want to put this into practice, as Jade and I are talking about these things, maybe you're thinking about for your brand, oh, well, I can't really do this. My audience is this. Segment your audience then. Segment your audience based off of the grandparent, the mother, the child, whatever it is, demographics, and then try to break that down and do something special even by like segmenting?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Like we have what we call our muse. And so we have a male muse, female muse, and we design product for these muses, air quotes, like people listening can't see me do that. I don't know why I did that.
It's fine. It's videos.
But we know that like our community is so much broader than that. But yeah, we just have to find ways to tailor the experience to each individual. And that only happens by hiring the right people, getting the right people on the bus. Jim Collins, big fan. But also like empowering them to make those decisions and bring their personality to life and listen with empathy and create a genuine connection.
Yeah. But genuine connection, man. Like, I think it's, again, community, creating the genuine connection. You can't, well, actually, let me ask you this. I don't even want to say this. What is your opinion? Do you think that like, okay, I'm starting off a brand, like, I'm thinking about my service. I'm thinking about all these things. And I know we think about things in a community perspective, but do you think that every brand can immediately start a community? Or do you have to understand it first and then build out like additional channels for it?
I honestly, let me sit with that for 1 second. I honestly don't think it's one or the other.
Yeah.
I think that you can take a brand, like create a brand and create a community that you want to create, and then you're going to attract those people. So there's a really cool brand in Australia. I think they're even in the US now, called Frank Body. And I look up to them so much just from a tone of voice, community, marketing, CX, like whole thing that just is one tone and one personality. And they started with one product and you know, they really lent into Frank, like as this guy and like how he talks and all of that. But like they basically started their brand with that and they attracted this community. They didn't start and then create a community. I don't know if that made sense.
Right.
But
yeah,
like it's so for LSKD, for example, like when I started 3 years ago, we already had a highly engaged community. Like they're fanatics. We even now have, because our brand changed. So we were originally LKI, which stands for Loose Kid Industries, which is the original brand that our founder started. And that's what LSKD stands for. But we even have people who are fans from like back then that are like, oh, we've been fans since the LKI days. But then when I came in and I was able to build this team from the ground up and just, I want to say harness the energy of the existing community and like just like take that and run with it and just grow that. Yeah, so I don't think it's one or the other.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. It wasn't a trick question.
Okay, good.
I was just like, I just wanted to share like somebody else's opinion because I agree with that too. Like, you know, I know I'm like using the feast. I don't even want to use the Feastables example. Like I sit across like quite a few other brands and like they're wellness brands, right? And I won't name like any names, but like, you know, with wellness comes a community, right? There's like a whole, and there's also like another creator brand that has like apparel, right?
Yeah.
And so like I kind of help them out sometimes, and they had a community started before they became out with the apparel brand. So it's like really doubling down in the community previously and like developing out that voice for your marketing pieces of it. Like my point is I agree with you, but like if you are like just starting out, you're going to attract the community that you want.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, just lots of opinions. Just lots of opinions about it. But okay, I do want to get into like a little nitty gritty. Okay. A little bit of a nitty gritty. What channels are your community on?
Like what? Sorry. So like
SMS, email, like how are the people are communicating to you?
All of them. I think what's really cool about like our brand is, as I said, we have our muse, but our community is so broad. So like from a CX perspective, we try and be where our community want us to be. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, phone calls aren't huge for us, but we have that function where they can call in. Live chat is growing, which is awesome. That like instant response type thing. Yeah. My team also look after everything reactive on social media. So we're replying to comments and DMs. So basically all of those platforms. And so I've actually started to like segment my team a little bit, and I've created specialists in those areas to actually like lean into like creating that live chat space, creating the social space, creating the email space. So yeah, we just try to be where they want us to be. So they dictate that, which is fine by me because absolutely.
Yeah. Question about like live chat specifically. Actually, I have just several questions.
Hit me. It's hot topic in my brain at the moment. So
Okay, we'll come back to that. Actually, we'll come back to that one. Social, because it's going to lead into other questions. Social. Do you utilize any like sort of listening tools, or are you just like scouring the internet?
Do you know what? No.
Oh, girl.
But
You need to okay.
So like so socials is split. So we have our social media coordinators, we have our content team, which they sit under, and then we have CX. So our social coordinators, amazing. Shout out Gracie and Robin. They're doing all the posting and creating, and then we're doing everything reactive. And it's kind of been a bit of an afterthought for our platforms, but we're on, I think, Sprout Social. And we use that in CX, but they're not even using that as their scheduling tool. They're doing everything locally.
Interesting.
I had a call with them literally last week, and I've spoken to them previously about social listening. And so it's something that we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because we're not. And I'm like, why aren't we doing that?
Dude, game changer.
Yeah.
Straight up game changer. And like, I'm actually telling a lot of like my brands that like I advise to like start now, because, and I think there's like a lot of social listening tools out there. Like this segment is not me selling a social listening tool. This is literally me selling like the why you need this. Okay. So here's the jam. You cannot scour the fucking internet enough. Okay. I'm sorry. Like and so like the brands that I have worked for, and including Feastables, okay, large community here, we've had to look at negative and positive things like constantly, right? And we also would want to always like respond to the comments, but you can't catch all of them. And a listening tool will help you kind of just like understand the overall sentiment. And what's really cool is like a lot of these tools now have like AI and like all these other pieces of it. And then also adding it into your CX reports every week.
Yeah.
So adding it into your CX reports, not just on the tickets that I get in email or this and that, like an overall sentiment analysis of what is fully happening in the voice of the customer is really interesting. I can nerd out about this.
I love that. I feel like, so my team respond to like every single comment usually.
Yeah.
We're still at a size now that we can do that, but that is not sustainable like long term.
No.
And we don't ever want to lose that one-to-one contact with our community.
Yeah.
But obviously you need these types of tools to scale and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a balance, isn't it?
Yeah. It's absolutely the balance. So actually going back to live chat, okay, so going back to live chat, like, are you utilizing any sort of, like, you just started using live chat?
No, we've had it the whole time.
Okay.
It's just been more of a focus.
Got it. And are you utilizing any sort of, like, AI into that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
There is more to that.
Yeah.
No. But, AI I'm back and forth with. It has its place.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But as I said, like we're at that size where we have like so much control over the conversations that we're having with our community that like I don't need to find efficiencies at the moment. Like I want to invest in more people to build more connections with our community. But I think there is absolutely a place for it. In our team, it's going to be a very small space, really. But how we're using chat at the moment is like more proactively. So trying to recreate an in-store experience online by like engaging and re-engaging community, moving through the website. Like, oh, hey, you've added those leggings to your cart. Like, what about the matching sports bra?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing to kind of generate revenue. Yeah. But I mean, you're fulfilling what the community actually needs as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not a sales tactic for me, although I know it's going to generate
It can
revenue.
be, yeah.
Absolutely. But that's not my main focus. My main focus is what are our community missing out on and how can we fulfill that need for them?
Yeah.
Because if you think about if they were to walk into one of our retail stores, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to pick up the leggings, try them on, and one of our educators is going to take like the matching top or the sports bra or a tee like to complete the whole fit. So that's kind of what we're trying to do at the moment is how we like having that true omnichannel experience from a community perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. So I know this is like speedy, but like and and not really speedy, but like I want to know, why did you guys open a brick and mortar store in San Diego?
Okay.
Being an Australian company and then in San Diego, I'm curious.
Yeah. So we have a US store, like online store. We have a Shopify store, AU and US. So we've been kind of nurturing a small portion of the US community for quite a few years now. And we've had team based in the US since I think like don't quote me on this, but like 2021, I think, or maybe a little bit longer actually. So we invested in partnerships, a partnerships team based in the US, and they were scattered around. And we decided that we actually wanted to hone in on one community.
Yeah.
And try and recreate what our founder did, like when he started the brand in that one community, and grow from there. So we decided on San Diego, Pacific Beach. And I think the retail store, like while we love it and it's a great space for our community to come, touch, feel, it kind of just happened because of the space that we went into. I think that's what happened. So we found this really cool office space that had a great kind of like storage area, but also this cool little room, which we've now created a community room. So if you're in San Diego, you can actually go to the store, but then go hang out in the community room. There's like recovery gear in there. There's ice baths. There's a lounge. There's a TV. Just hang out and have a chat. But yeah, it's got like a cool showroom at the front. So we have a small retail store, which is awesome.
Dude, I want to come to San Diego.
Come to San Diego.
Your store.
Do it.
Like, absolutely.
Do it.
But only when you're here.
Yeah, well, I'm there for a week from Wednesday, so come on down.
Yeah, well, I live in Chicago, so we're gonna redo this trip.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if there's any other US stores on the horizon at the moment, but like our community in San Diego is, it's pumping. That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So between like Australia and the US, right, and like being omni-channel at this point, do you have, Actually, this kind of question just came to me. What's like the difference between the different like localized experience? Is the localized experience like different?
I mean, it depends kind of like, what do you mean though? Like localized in our stores or on the website?
Localized by like US and Australia.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do a couple of different things, like just from an online perspective, like the seasons are different for starters. Yeah. So we've got to make sure that we've got the right content on both stores. So, summer content in AU and then winter in the US. So it's a little bit of a juggling act. And because like we love our US community, but it's still quite small for us. So we just, we've invested in team that are US focused, which is really cool. Like not just based in the US, but also based in our AU office, in our digital marketing team, who are just looking after the US so that they're able to nurture it a bit more.
Yeah.
So like we create like specific ads for the US community. We try and stay relevant for like US holidays. And then locally, like if you go to San Diego, you can actually get a T-shirt that you can only buy from the San Diego store and a water bottle, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And we've even like brought one out in like the Padres colors because...
Oh, cool. Yeah. Localized experience again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So each retail location has a T-shirt that you can only get in that retail location.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we've started to personalize per retail store.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love the personalization of it.
It's awesome. And we need to do more of that. And I think there's some really exciting things coming.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to learn more. Well, my friend, we are reaching the end of the road.
Oh my God.
I know. It goes really quickly.
That was like 5 minutes.
I know.
What?
Well, it technically was because like we did get started a little later. But I just have a couple of questions though.
Yeah.
And just going back to travel.
Okay.
What's the best place you ever, or the coolest place you ever traveled to?
Iceland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, cool. As like a country and like the overall experience, Iceland. My favorite city though, can I do two? Am I allowed?
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
It's so random, and it was just one of those stops on my itinerary where I didn't know anything about and I didn't care about it until I got there, but it was Ljubljana.
Ljubljana?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Am I saying that right?
I have no idea because I've never heard of it.
Slovenia.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It was just like the vibe, the food, the wine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I love that.
But I'm sitting here going like so many different, like Switzerland. Like
I know, right? I know this happens when,
yeah.
Well, one, this happens, I think, when you're Australian, because Australians do love to travel.
We do.
Two, when you worked at Flight Center.
Yeah. There's so many things popping in my head.
All
And
those
I don't
deals,
talk
girl.
about travel much anymore.
We can always talk about travel.
I love that. Like,
Call a
I
girl.
still catch up with like the people that I used to work with. But it's just like, you know, when you catch up with people that you used to work with, you just talk about everything funny that happened when you worked together and that kind of thing. But yeah, actually sitting down and talking about travel, I miss it.
Ugh. I travel so much still.
Yeah.
Like it's so insane.
Yeah.
But I'm here in Vegas and I actually live in Chicago. So here's an example of that, my
very
friend.
good example.
Where can everybody find you? It's because it's been so lovely and I want them to continue talking to you.
Oh my God, thank you. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jade Cameron. I think there's not that many, but LSKD, if you go onto their LinkedIn. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Jade, for coming on. And
Thank you for having me.
I'm coming to
has
Australia.
been
We're going to do this
great.
again.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
done.
Come visit us. Our office, we do tours. Might put you through like a little yoga session, a Pilates
Yes,
session,
girl.
or
Ice
lunchtime
bath. I'm
workout.
down. Let's
go. Cool.
Thank you. And to everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in to another week of The Juice. And we'll see you next Thursday. Hey, wow, you made it to the end of the episode. That means that you like me and I like you, which also means you should subscribe to this show.